Okay, so talking about other kind of people that you might know. Here's a good one. We both know this guy, Mick Fleetwood.
Too tall, Paul Mick, you know. Yeah, I sat down at his kid on drums one time, and it was like the kick drum was across the room. I felt like a little midget or something, a child midget, you know. Yes, Mom. Little big hands, holding those great big long drumsticks. You know. He'd get up and walk across the room.
Yes, he's very tall.
Yeah, I was hanging out with them when they were putting their band together. I always thought Stevie Nicks was Lindsay Buckingham. I had the Lindsay and Stevie names wrong. You know, Lindsay sounded like a girl's name. Stevie definitely was a guy name. And but yeah, I used to go to their house in England. It was cold, man. I don't know why those houses only have one little fireplace about this big, and everybody huddles around it, you know. And they're in there practicing, you know. And
love Stevie Nicks.
Oh hell yeah, they were
make
great.
Fun of Stevie Nicks.
They were great. Unusual Billy Goat vibrato, kind of like one of the Nelsons, you know, Willie Nelson's kids.
I absolutely love Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, and Willie Nelson's kids.
And Willie, I love Willie.
You know, yeah, gotta love Willie.
You better love Willie.
Especially if you're in Texas, you know.
No. Anyway, so didn't you did a show that involved Mick and many other people?
Yeah. It was a benefit for the family members that the Rick Nelson plane crash. So one of our my old roadies, Clark Russell, you know, he worked with us with Laney Bonning, with Derek and the Dominoes when we came to America. He went to work for Ricky Nelson, and he died in that crash. And so I don't know how it came up. Something about somebody needed to do a benefit because his families were just completely devastated. Ricky Nelson's family, everybody. Yeah. And so I said, I put together something. Well, I got everybody donated their services. Nobody believed that I could do it. And all I did was just like present somebody with something that they wanted to be a part of, for sure. To help the families of those unfortunate folks. Ricky Nelson's family, the twins, you know, the whole 9 years. So I think it was 16 acts on the show. Gary Busey, who was on it. I had Delaney and his daughter Becca. That was her first performance. We got her. She was on the cover of LA Times. Mm-hmm. And Zoo. There was Redbone. I had a band where it was 2 drum risers on the stage. Beverly Theater donated their theater to me. I got a big sound company to do all the sound and record it and video it and everything. They donated their services. The hotel that's connected to the Beverly Theater donated their services for everybody who was a part of this thing. It was a pretty amazing event, a lot of fun. We made money because everybody did everything for free. All the bands did everything for free. They got there. I looked after them at the Beverly Hotel there. And it was amazing. Everybody wanted to get on this thing, and we made enough money to subsidize all the family members.
What was the name of the event? Do you remember?
No,
I remember when it happened.
It was just a special event, you know, for surviving family members.
It was very, very sad at the time.
Yeah. But everybody rallied together. And all it took was just, you know, one. I always go through straight to the top with anything I ever do. I don't go through the front door. I go to the back door. The guy that's running the show, whatever it may be, big corporations, I don't care what it is, he doesn't have a whole lot to do. He has everybody else doing something for him. If you go straight to him and say, hey, I got a great idea. How'd you get here? Well, I came through that door and not that one. most of the time, the people who are running the company are more than willing to help you because they don't have anything to do. They got everybody doing something for them. But if you can convey something to the person that's running the show, if you can convey something selflessly, I couldn't see because these ideas like that they come from the creative principle of the universe. They come from that whatever makes all of this happen. The birds flying, the fish going, tides coming in and out, just going so far, no further. If it goes out too far, head for the hills.
Tsunami.
But that thing, if someone is dialed in and you approach this person who is on the same level of understanding as you are, it all becomes crystal. And you don't even have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain motive or anything because it's all laid out right there. And it turns into a thing of, yes, whatever you need, count me in. Thank you for coming straight to me. Yeah, because you can never make it to the top of a business to talk to somebody if you go through all the grunts, You got to get through the front door. First thing you got to do is get past the receptionist. Then she's got somebody she's got to get okayed with. They got to come down and inspect the thing. Then they could, it's just too many damn channels,
Was the show a success?
Absolutely. The place was packed. Everybody enjoyed themselves. The videos, everything came out really good. I'm sure it'll all surface sooner than later, But eventually, I would like to think so. Well, it was ahead of its time, but it was right on time, as far as the music and the video.
Did you know Ricky Nelson at all?
No. But Carstein used to play with him. Jimmy Carstein was Ricky Nelson's drummer.
Right.
And I don't think Ricky was from Tulsa, though.
No.
All the great musicians were from Tulsa. Yeah. Carstein's still around.
Who else is still around?
Jim Keltner.
Jim Horn.
There's
a few.
My man Steve Cropper's still around. There's some of us who are still here, and Booker T's out there kicking it. So it does me good to know that my peers are out there still slamming. Laying it down. Clapton's out there whenever he can. Stones are out there. I don't know. Those guys will just probably freeze on a stage one day, I don't know. They just don't quit, and that's good. And it's inspirational,
Well, it makes the life of a musician last longer, I think, and where it used to be over when you were 25 or 27.
Oh, I know. Mick was.
Now you can carry on.
Yeah, Mick was saying stuff like.
They made it that way.
He would say.
It was great.
I'd rather be dead than like 42 singing,
Right.
singing Satisfaction on stage. And now he's like what, He's like 78 or something. He's up there.
You and Ronnie Wood are friends, isn't that correct?
Yeah, we're friends. I knew him from when I lived in Wargrave. Somehow or other, I wound up over at his house in town, and everything was still rolling around then. He's calmed down since then. Got kids.
You get that look on your face.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say too much, 'cause I might incriminate myself. So.
Well, you've been clean. It'll be 20 years in October.
Yeah. Been clean, sober. I'm grateful to every day. I'm up all the time because of my noise that I got in my head. But I'm up all through the night, 4 or 5 times. But I go, wow. And what it does, I'm up and I can appreciate every moment that I'm still here on this planet.
When you talk about the noise in your head, can you explain to people that are watching what you're talking about?
Oh, I was operated on for Meniere's disease, they call it. I didn't have the fluid, wasn't flowing freely over here, and so they had to put a shunt tube a permanent shunt tube in the endolymphatic sac of the cochlea of my left ear. It's high drops left. Meniere's disease. And the aftermath of that left me with a head full of noise. It sounds like Amazon jungle without the howling monkeys. And then I started really having some psychological issues because of the noise that was in my head. And one time I went out with all my guns, and I didn't know what to do with all the ammunition I had when I had my farm in Mississippi. Things were pretty touch and go with me. And so
It was a bad scene, wasn't it?
it was a bad scene. I was afraid of myself. And so I emptied all the guns out one day, and I shot. It was 357, and it went pow, like it, and then went boom. And so everything muffled. And I didn't put my headset on, and I emptied all of my guns. And after that, it's like it didn't ever go away. I woke up the next day, and all this noise was so loud, it was overwhelming. And it hadn't calmed down since. I've just learned to live with it.
So the deafness that you have is you have to hear through a head full of noise.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
partial of
Yeah. Yeah, it's a head full of noise. It's louder than anything, you know.
And then on top of that, you have catastrophic tinnitus.
Yeah. So it just adds to it, you know. I had my ears checked here a while back, and canned it for just to hear better out of this ear on right ear. But when I did it, it was like, hello in there, you know, it's like this is talking in a tin can. This ain't gonna work. But it's all right, you know. I learned to live with it. I look at what happened to me as a blessing, because it really, really made me go within, because I had nowhere else to go. You know, I had no place else to go. I had no other drugs that I could take or anything I could drink. Nothing was going to stop this thing.
You were a prisoner in your own body, basically.
Yeah, I'm a prisoner in my body, and I still am with all this head noise, and it's all the fluid that goes from inside my cranium, and it sends false signals, and so. It's not my ears or my inner ears that have this noise that's inside my head.
I know that a lot of times people will speak to you and you don't answer them. They think you're being rude, but you can't hear them.
No, I can't hear them. And most of the time when they're saying something, if they're not looking at me, I don't understand what they're saying.
Well, that happens with us all the time.
Yeah.
We have to be in the same room to talk to each other.
Yeah.
We try that yelling back. It doesn't work at all.
Oh, we had a hell of a time on the farm. It was a great big place. It was always yelling. Yeah. What? No! Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, I knew a guy in Hawaii who was experiencing what I go through, and he committed suicide because he couldn't deal with it. Well, I couldn't deal with taking my own life, you know. I had it really helped me with my awakening and understanding who I am, because I had to go within and find that I'm not this body and these ears aren't mine, you know. It's the noises of the universe. I heard some recordings that were taken from the Hubble, and it was all these different galaxies throughout the universe. And all these noises are the ones that I hear. And so when I heard that, I could connect myself with the universe, you know, and I went, okay, this is all right. I can live with this. But I looked upon it as what had happened to me as a blessing, because it made me do what I've done, you know, turn within, and hello in there, you know. It did. I have friends who have lost, you know, limbs from one reason or the other, Vietnam War, or, you know, accidents, and I thought to myself, well, there's a guy I knew, and he lost a motorcycle wreck. He lost all this, and I said, "Where is your hand now?" He said, "It's in my lap. My fist is doubled." He says, "My arm is still here." Big man came to our house one time, and he had lost his arm on a loading dock. You remember him and his daughter sang so well? Mm-hmm. And I got to talking about it. I wanted to know what happened, you know, because I'm dealing with this head noise. And He said, I lost it on a loading dock. He said, I call it my spiritual arm, the one that's gone. He says, I'm always reaching to get a hold of something. He said, it gets me in trouble. He said, I'll fall and I'll try to grab something with my spiritual arm. I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, what if you lost this arm over here? And he said, I'd have two spiritual arms. And I said, well, what if you lost your legs? He said, well, I'd have two spiritual legs. And I said, well, doesn't that kind of tell you something about really who we are? And I'm talking about, to this man, this is unfolding for me. It's not something I read in a book. It's unfolding for me at the same time as he's taking it in. And he said, yeah, I guess you're right there. And I was. I know. So I've taken my malady, my discomfort, and have turned it around. It's a seed for a new me, you know. It was a seed of growth for a new Bobby Whitlock. You know, I'm not the man. Since then, I'm not the man I was then and before then. I'm far more a better man. I understand more now than I ever did, you know, because I was involved with the world out here. I wasn't in touch with myself. I was all out here. It was all about out here and not in here, you know, within. You know, my consciousness is not in this body. This body is in my consciousness. You know, that is deep.